hearing? How do they absorb it?
I don't know if we could get that on.
It already is, I believe.
Oh, it is?
It's already, well, one of the versions that the planning board proposed is on
The
that
web.
website. Whether it's the most recent version, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
That's why I was hoping we'd have something from Aaron on that. But I think as soon as we hear from Aaron, it's like a click of a button for Eric Hosmer to add it to the website.
Yeah, I don't think it's hard for me.
But it's gotta be, certain parts of it need to be modified or broadened there or something. That's put a range that's been
Right.
discussed, I guess you could put it. Probably it's really just the setback stuff that's,
The most
the other stuff,
contentious.
there wasn't a lot of range, I guess, in the other areas of it. But yeah, and it would be available at the town clerk's office for anybody, or in the library probably too, typically for anybody that want to go in and read it.
I'm going from recollection, I don't know if anybody can tell me, since you guys, you're advisory, but since this is a change of the law, and if the board doesn't agree with that, don't they have to have a supermajority to overrule you, or no?
I don't think there's.
I thought I
We
read that.
basically recommends to them.
Yeah.
They can change it or do whatever they want with it. I don't know that there's any requirement that they have to have any kind of supermajority to
Yeah.
change anything we offer to them.
Yeah, I thought I read that somewhere a long time ago, I thought maybe somebody.
I'm not aware of it, if
Okay.
that's the case.
Not sure where to go with
With
it.
that,
So then, not sure where to go with it. Do you tentatively send
It
it?
sounds like we're still
Oh,
fairly.
the fire hall did say, the fire department said we could totally use the fire hall whenever we schedule, as long as it's available that day, which it should be.
That would probably be big, and like, unfortunately, like you say, if it was the project, if the hearing was on, you might get a good crowd, but to have a hearing on the proposed law,
Right.
and you hope you can turn some people out, but typically, it never does, but.
I think the good news is you guys have got time. I think Don announced at the one meeting that he doesn't think they're gonna submit now till the first quarter of next year.
Yeah.
Where before it was April, then it was May, then it was June, and now it's the first quarter of next year, so you do have a little bit of time, yeah.
I don't like to bank on that, though.
Well, yeah. But Aaron Mullen did say he would argue that if it, yeah.
Has anybody heard anything more on 94C, if that's where that
Well, I was
is
just
aimed?
telling Tom, I mean, I think Barron Winds just got their certificate to start construction.
Oh, they
And
did.
they're under 94C too.
Yeah.
I think they're under Article 10.
Well, wait a minute, yeah, they're under Article
Oh,
10,
okay,
yes.
then.
Yeah.
It's at on or about September 20th, but at the Cohocton meeting, they were saying that they thought it was gonna be delayed a week because they were doing new submissions to the state. So I'm not sure if they got the certificate or not, because there were a few challenges to it about the conditions and what have you.
Yeah, then I don't know, do you mean because of that lawsuit
Yeah.
and where that was
Yeah, I
happening?
don't know.
I have not heard anything.
We sent the setbacks to the town board though, right? And you were voted on here, right?
They never voted on it, but.
I mean, here they were voted on it.
Yes.
To then send it to
Yeah,
them.
we voted, we approved, we voted on a
Draft.
thing, draft to send them.
And then they haven't done anything with that since.
They came back to us and said, we don't,
They weren't-
basically, we don't like those
Yeah,
setbacks.
they weren't happy with it.
What do they
So-
want?
They didn't say.
They didn't really say, Don was gonna, I mean,
I'm assuming this is, from the comments.
Was it just the setbacks or was it other stuff?
It's mainly the setbacks, and it
It was
was,
setbacks.
and they just felt they were too excessive, and That was kind of the impression I got, it was too excessive, and that it was, the state wouldn't go for that. They-
Well, why wouldn't that trigger a public hearing though, based on the proposed law?
Because they never went, they weren't
They were
going
just
forward
sitting
with
on
it.
They were just sitting on it, so
Yeah.
basically, it was us that said, we wanna push ahead with this, and we requested that they set a public hearing to discuss this.
Just seems like if that was the proposed here, then they'd have the public hearing, and then they could,
If they had a copy that they agreed with and went ahead with a public hearing with that, but what we're asking them, because they can't really make up their mind, we're saying, well, let's go ahead with a public hearing and get some input with a range of possibilities in that law, so nothing set in stone. In other words, this isn't necessarily the law we're gonna go forward with. We're gonna have a public hearing and hopefully make a decision after that, what we want, what they were willing to submit for a amended law, but, so it's still up in the air what the setbacks are,
yeah,
or will be.
well, it seems a little dangerous going into it under the old law though, right? Under the old,
There's a lot of other things in the law besides the setbacks
Yeah.
that need to be addressed, that have been in this proposed, so it's kind of important that, I think that they.
The only thing they really came back with that they disagreed with was the setbacks, in that one item that Don mentioned, that he wanted to take that one phrase out of there, which I don't think
It
was
was a facility, not a.
Yeah.
seems a little lazy to me,
Well,
on their part. It kind of seems like, what's the point?
maybe a public hearing can help them decide, what direction they want to go with setbacks or any other aspects of the proposed law.
Yeah.
My opinion, it's an opinion. I remember hearing one of the board members say that it was, these setbacks that you guys proposed was too stringent on the wind company. And, I think about that and I'm thinking, well, what about the people?
Well, I mean, it might be on the company, that might be a
Right,
a
and
true
and
statement.
probably what those setbacks are doing is probably kicking a couple turbines out of here.
Mhm.
It's probably what's happening. I mean, I don't know that answer,
Yeah.
but that's my guess. And I think they're pushing it back on you guys to make you look like the bad guys. That's what I think.
I think didn't Aaron Mullen kind of confirm that? I think Robin talked to Aaron Mullen that one night, and he kind of confirmed that the project was kind of based, working with Kevin Sheen on the area that you had and where you could fit them. That's why they kept going with that 2.1. I mean, nobody really gave a good excuse. They just said they felt that the setbacks were unreasonable.
Well, I get that, obviously, that's kind of self-evident though. Right, is that not self-evident? If someone wants to put a turbine there, then it would be, you'd have to put it in a location that meets a criteria that fits it there?
They didn't feel that they were gonna get more landowners to participate or be
Right.
willing to.
That's,
sign off.
it isn't like you're excluding them, with
Our
the
intent
larger
was-
setbacks, it says, you gotta get the agreement of more landowners, basically.
Yeah, and I thought your idea was good, to where it would generate that. There would be enough benefit for everybody, of the people who wanted it.
I guess that's what, when we went forward with the setbacks we did, that was the thought, more or less, that, all right, if you're gonna affect these people substantially, then at least they should be compensated
Right.
somehow for it. But it doesn't kill the project, it basically just says.
Well, maybe the setbacks are good, you can just have a sliding scale for if an adjacent landowner is okay with it being closer.
Well, that's fine.
And then maybe they can actually receive some of the monies from.
Yeah, that's what we're.
Exactly.
And that,
Exactly.
And then if an adjacent landowner doesn't want those setbacks or agree to them all, at all, then
Then
they would
that-
eliminate that turbine.
Right, or
Or
push
make it
it in
smaller,
another
or-
direction.
yeah.
or something, but, yeah.
It seems like the liability would go on the state. I mean, you guys have done your due diligence, your fiduciary responsibility to protect the people. And if the state comes in and overrules you, at least that gives people, you know, anybody that wants to go forward with legal action, because now it seems to me that the liability's on the state, not on the town. But that's just my opinion,
Right.
so.
And who knows, I mean, 94C's up in the air, who knows what's gonna happen?
Yeah, that's,
You
I
got a
mean.
governor change, you know, who knows?
Well, that's being challenged now too, so
Yeah,
who knows how long that's gonna.
94C's going under a lawsuit, so.
Yeah.
I mean, something good might come out of that even.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Might.
So what do you do, just board this for tonight, or wait to get more information, or?
I think, I mean, maybe we could pick a tentative date.
Well,
and
that's what I was
say
wondering,
this
if
is
we
what
just
we want to move forward
At
with.
least
push to have it to
an
be
area or,
our next planning board meeting, or that, you know, the week after that, or a month from now, I don't know.
Yeah.
You can set a
The
date.
next official
The
date.
town actually, I mean, the board,
Right, give them a,
actually has to
give them a date and let them try to
give
get the eggs in a row or whatever.
What do you think? About a time frame rather than a specific
Split
date.
date,
you know,
yeah,
I don't know what they're thinking.
middle of,
Does the town board need to be there, or do you folks need to be there?
No, it's the town board, it's not this board.
well, I think
Well,
we'd
the
all
town
be there,
board
but.
Would run that.
Approved the planning board to go ahead and set this up,
Yeah.
basically. So although they said they would talk to the folks, I am not confident after the last planning board meeting and no follow through with any of us that that's gonna happen. So I almost think that it would be worth it for,
I wouldn't do that, I wouldn't let them off the hook.
Well, that's,
It's just, that's my, I wouldn't let them off the hook.
it's probably, maybe it's worth doing what Jack said and setting a, maybe not a date, but at least a period where here's what we thought would be the, and, you know, if you're gonna use LaBella, get them on board, get the right copy and get it publicized.
You know, before you know it, this Delta and COVID is gonna come. It's been great because everyone's been outside. The minute they start, people in November, I think you're gonna see problems like you had last November. So, I don't know, if that should be a reason of pushing it sooner than later, or, I don't know.
I say we just tell them we'd like to have the hearing at our next regular planning meeting.
that's what I was
In
looking
October.
over. Right, the next town board meeting is October 13th, so ours would be October 20th. But
It's a month away.
if they approve it, then they, or set it, it'd be 10 days from there, so it wouldn't be possible on the 20th. But that following week, though, you know, a month from now.
So they don't have to approve it though, because they already did at the last
Okay.
town board meeting.
Yeah,
They
that's
said,
true.
yes, we're going to schedule this. The problem is they didn't follow up on providing dates to us for this meeting like they said they would, so.
You know, why not go for next month, and if that becomes
Right.
an
that's what
issue.
would be the idea.
So it would basically mean getting the right copy, getting it on the website if it isn't already.
Right.
Or,
We would-
well, if we're gonna do that, we probably should figure out how we're gonna modify what gets put on the website and, or out there for the public to look at, so.
Is the existing law on the website and then the proposed law?
There's one of
Sure.
it.
But
We're
there
not
is
sure which version.
a version that we modified recently is on the website, but we're not 100% sure that's the last
What's our meeting
iteration.
on the 20th?
Yeah, it'd be nice to get like the most recent and then like the original law. That'd be kind of cool, so then people can actually pull it up on their phone and read it at the meeting.
the initial law is on the website.
Oh, it is on
Yeah.
there?
It is, yes.
27.
Yeah, that'd be kinda
Yeah,
cool.
you know.
And then if they would let it happen at the fire hall on the 20th,
We were just, I was just.
is that what you were saying, the fire
Yes,
hall?
we-
Well, we were just saying, like, the town board meeting's the 13th, and then ours is the 20th. Do we still just have ours, and then the following week?
Do it the following.
That way there's a planning board meeting, town board meeting, a planning board
So-
meeting before the public hearing.
They may have their budget hearing that week. I know that's always at the end of October. Not that that would matter.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have to have it on a Wednesday, we can do it on a Thursday, the 28th, we can do it, you know.
And this is what's on Eric's website for the
Yes,
version.
that is this version. Okay. It's the version.
So it's got the most current one.
Yeah. Well,
Is the old one on there too then?
Yeah.
The old one is,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's good, then at least people can look at that.
You're talking about the old, now you're talking about the original, the one that's in place now?
Yeah.
So
So you're saying Eric, so that's good that Eric put that on there then, so.
I'm just thinking when we advertise, I mean, certainly it's a hearing on the entire law, but when we write up the little blurb that goes in the paper or wherever, can we say specifically that we're interested in comments on these certain aspects of the law? Or is that not, you know, that these are
think it'd just be-
open-ended at this point
It'd just be basically comments on
on the
the
wind law? in general?
proposed draft, you know, the draft.
And actually, I did probably the supposed future project proposals, what's that have to do with it?
Right, we're not even worried about the project or anything.
This
It's
would just be from the
Just
law.
for the law, right.
Yeah. And then that would take care of any future projects for the
Right.
up, right?
It's just putting a new wind law in to replace the old,
Yeah.
or update the old one or replace it.
That'd be kinda cool if Jim, if you could figure out a way to like write up like this, a sliding scale for a proposed, to make it to where like one size doesn't fit all.
Yeah, I don't,
Because if my neighbor was getting one, I wouldn't care, like, it wouldn't bother me if it was like 1.2 times, it just wouldn't. But somebody else, it might, and then that would be good for them, because then it would say, well, no, I want it farther back or whatever. But where I live, I don't live in a tunnel, mine's just all flat, so I don't think would get any noise. So. But it would probably make a difference if you're in some sort of valley or something.
I think in a way that's sort of written in.
Right, oh yeah, where you're in like a dip there, yeah,
Yeah, and there's one.
I find that you get the most when you're at the same level.
at the same level.
Yeah. You do hear, you know, like I'm below it, of course, I mean, most of them are up on top of the hill anyway, but I don't know which ones are noisiest for you, you're surrounded, but.
Depends on the day.
And you're down below Dick Stewart, same road? Yeah.
But you got some that are straight across.
But I think it's in here that there's a variance if there are neighboring, right, if there's agreement, like if it can be cited less than the distance as long
yeah,
as.
if,
I think that's in here.
if they agree, yeah,
Right.
right, yeah.
So I think that sliding scale is sort of already written in here. Indirectly, it's not termed like a sliding scale, but they have to find that.
I think I think it can be cited all the way down to the setback required for safety, right, the
Right.
fall zone.
Right, the fall zone,
That would be the minimum then, right? That
I think that's a
1.2?
minimum that you can't negotiate, like if you were the landowner, they can't put it any closer than the fall zone, even if you agreed to it.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense,
That's OSHA standards.
yeah.
Section down there. Easements and.
guess you could put the range in that we discussed from the beginning, which was what, 2.5